make it tangle. My good money. My good money. My good money. I'm making money, my thug.
This podcast or broadcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal, health, tax, or professional advice. Always consult a licensed professional for specific advice related to your situation. Thank you.
You're now tuned in to the Mic'd Up Money Radio Show, where faith meets finance and real talk fuels your comeback. This isn't hype, it's healing. This isn't theory, it's transformation. If you're building a brand, a vision, or trying to get back on your feet, this show is your reset button. Welcome to the table where entrepreneurs talk money with clarity, courage, and conviction. Let's get mic'd up.
Hello, this is Ephraim Simmons coming back again from Mic'd Up Money, where we talk business, mindset, money, systems, and the real grind behind this success. Today we have Mr. Dwayne. Today's topic is respect the grind and the hustle. So, Mr. Dwayne, I want you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you're doing, both on the coffee side and the IT side, and we'll start asking you questions.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. My name is Dwayne Chaffen. I'm a native Memphian, graduated Mitchell High School. I love my city. I'm an IT professional. I've been in IT for over 20 years, IT and telecommunications. And I'm one half of Memphis Grindhouse Coffee. I started Memphis Grindhouse Coffee with my business partner, Rick Askew, in 2019. So that's the high level gist of who I am and what I have going on.
Well, tell us about Memphis Grindhouse. Do you have any special products you want to highlight or anything?
Absolutely. So like I said, we started Memphis Grindhouse in 2019. We are coffee roasters. So we roast, package, and distribute coffee. We have 3 different blends that we carry, light, medium, and dark. And we actually sell those online and in grocery stores here locally in Memphis. But we just recently, in celebration of, because this is March, and in celebration of Women's History Month, we just recently collaborated with a wonderful nonprofit organization here in the city named Thistle and Bee. And they work with women who have been victims of prostitution, sex trafficking, and addiction. And they rehab the ladies and they give them an opportunity to get their lives together and acclimate them back into society. They give them jobs and things like that. So we collaborated with them and we created a special blend called Honey in the Roast. So they sell that exclusively at their store here in Chickasaw Oaks in Memphis, Tennessee, or you can buy it online at thistleandbee.org. It's a really, really good coffee though. It's a honey infused coffee. It smells really good when you brew it. It tastes even better when you taste it. So it's good stuff.
All right. Do you have any other special brands? Because I think you have a nonprofit attached to your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So we another blend that we did, 901 Fund, is a nonprofit here in the city. They are the name, image, and likeness NIL collective of the University of Memphis. So they engage with student athletes there. All the student athletes that are active students within the school. The students can earn money by doing community engagement, going out, working within the community. And so they are a nonprofit. So they reached out to us, collaborated with us, and we created a special blend for them as well. And so for every bag of that we sell, we donate a portion of the proceeds back to 901 Fund, and they distribute the proceeds to the student athletes.
Okay, I was looking at your website. Are there some locations where people can buy your coffee?
Absolutely. So we sell, like I said, we sell online. So at our website, memphisgrindhouse.com. We also sell at amazon.com. But if you are local here in the city of Memphis, we sell in over 20 locations. We're in Super Low Foods, Cash Saver, High Point Grocery, South Point Grocery. We're in Cordelia's Market. We're in Kitchen Laurel, Butterific Bakery and Cafe, Novel Memphis. We sell in Cooper Young Gallery and Gift Gallery on Cooper Street. We also sell in the Memphis International Airport. So we're in several locations around the city. You can find us. It's not hard. It's not hard to find us.
Okay, so we segue back into the topic of today's discussion, this episode. Now, when you hear the phrase respect the grind and hustle, what should people really respect more? The ambition, the consistency, or the systems?
That's a good question. I think it's more so of you should respect the consistency, right? That's just my opinion. Chick-fil-A, in my opinion, is not the best chicken sandwich. But Chick-fil-A is the most profitable quick serve fast food restaurant on planet Earth because of consistency. It's the same chicken sandwich, whether you order it in Los Angeles, if you order it in Kentucky, or if it's in New York City, the chicken sandwich is the same. So people love the consistency of the actual customer service and the product taste. That's what make, in my opinion, that's their secret sauce. So I think people should, any entrepreneur or person should respect the consistency of a business.
Yeah, a lot of entrepreneurs don't understand that ambition gets applause because most people can respect how people move. Then consistency get results because, that's the thing that makes the business flow. But systems get scale. And a lot of times people want to grow, but they don't have no systems.
Right. Right. That is correct. That is correct. I'm a big systems person. Believe in, I believe in having systems. We have, although we are a small operation, man. We have to have systems. We need accounting systems. You need systems that keep up with your quantities, your inventory. You need systems for sending invoices. You need a system for taking payments. Just how you do things. You need a CRM so you can keep up with your customer relationships. All of that. It's all important. So systems are important, and you cannot scale without systems. Systems are extremely important.
Next question. How did you build a Memphis brand without becoming all style and no substance? I know I recently met you at the Pinnacle banking event. Shout out to my banker, Zandra Ingram. And people really enjoyed that coffee.
Yes, the coffee was great. I sincerely appreciate Pinnacle Bank for giving us the opportunity. A special shout out to Brian Perrier for reaching out to us, and Steve Swain, and Tamara is the branch manager there in the Whitehaven location. So she's reached out to us. We collaborated with her last year when she brought out the community. We had the first responders, so we had police, fire department, EMT workers there, coffee, donuts, all that. So they loved it. So yes, I love my bank, and I appreciate them for that.
Well, I want to get back to it. Just having the name and just saying you're from Memphis, but how did you really know that you had a good product that people really wanted and they would buy? Because I know that a lot of people start stuff and, their friends and family tell them all the time, hey, this is good, but it may not be true.
Absolutely. So when Rick and I first started, what we realized was, we strategically thought about what we wanted to do. The idea was starting a business out of college, right? We met in college, and, we threw a couple ideas against the wall to see what stuck, and we landed on coffee. So we strategically chose coffee. Once we chose coffee, and I'm fast forwarding through a few steps here, but we had to then test the market. So we came up with the blends, and then we had to actually let people taste it. So we held focus groups with friends, family, and strangers. So I never forget when we launched back in, like I said, we launched in 2019. We did a coffee tasting in 2020, actually like right before COVID, right, which was nuts. But, we invited the local community to come out, and it was absolutely free. A free event, come out, try the coffee, taste it, sample it, give us honest feedback of what you think, what you like, what you don't like. And we took that information and perfected the product. And then we, off to the races to start selling it.
Yeah. I have a book out called Please Read Before Attempting. And a lot of times people spend so much time on the business plan and not too much on proof of concept. And I like that y'all did do proof of concept because what bankers are looking for now is something that people have tested and they know that people actually desire it rather than what you are promoting or wishing that people want. If they see sales, if they see consistency, if they see scaling, they know that you have something that may work. What did that teach you when you did that testing?
Man, great point. So I can tell you, just like a banker told me, you can talk all day, but deposits and money deposits in your account from customers buying your product is your proof of concept. Coffee at the end of the day is a commodity. Of course, people have their own special spins on it, but, coffee sold at a gas station, it's sold at restaurants, it's sold at fast food. If you walk up and down the aisle in a grocery store, it's probably 30 different brands of coffee. But it's all about what makes you special. We created ours to resonate with the community here locally and just show the community, hey, we are local businessmen. We have a viable product. We're from the city, and we are trying to show, the coffee is multifaceted. Not only were we trying to prove that we could build a business locally and represent the city, but we also wanted to give back to the community, and we wanted to show young people that you don't have to be an athlete, you don't have to be a celebrity to make money. You can be a business person. You can wake up every day and put on polo and khakis and go out and do your business and make money. And that was part of the reason, why we did that. So once we were able to prove the proof of concept, the business began to grow over time. And we've just been slowly growing over time. And so, like I said, those deposits in your bank account mean something. When the banker logs in and look and see that, it's a different conversation when you walk into a bank asking for a loan, when you have 3 or 4 years of deposits versus if you have a proof of concept or just an idea with no proven sales. It's a totally different conversation. So yes, having that proof of concept is key and golden for sure.
Yeah, of course. And we did prior episodes. They may want to go back and look at them about before you go to the bank. A lot of people get confused. They think because they have a credit score and they have money in the bank will loan them money on anything. But bankers are in the business of loaning money. They don't give money for everything. If you come up with some foolish concept, unless you're going to use your own money or secure the loan with your own money, they're not going to give you money on it because they want to make money back on it. But let me ask you this question right here. What costs you more? Building the product, building the brand, or building belief in the brand?
You know what? Probably, that's a good question. I would say building the product. Well, building a brand and building the product, they kind of go hand in hand in a sense. Because number one, when we first came up with the concept, you have to formulate the company first, right? So that actually costs money to legally form an entity within your state, right? So, our business is incorporated in the state of Tennessee. And then, of course, you have to have certain things you need. You need a domain, that's your www web address. That costs you something. But then, of course, the whole R&D, which is research and development of actually trying to get the coffee beans, test them with people that roast coffee. Because when we first started, we started with someone that roasted coffee for us, and we sat with them and tried cup after cup after cup to come up with our own blend. That costs money to do that. And then, we had to pay for coffee bags. You got to pay for the designer. You got to pay for product samples. I mean, I'm just telling you different things, but those things cost thousands of dollars up front, and we didn't make a dime. You hadn't sold not one product yet, and we shelled out thousands of dollars up front just before we even was able to say we ready to sell. We spent money. So I would say that was the most expensive part of it up front. The next part of it is just time, building the brand. That costs money to do that too, but it costs you time to do it as well.
With my nonprofit, I teach classes at the Memphis Library Foundation, and I did one on branding. And people look at Field of Dreams, and you always heard, if you build it, they will come. And I tell them that's a fantasy. That's a movie. That's not reality. You have to build it and promote it, because they was in the middle of a cornfield. Who's going to come to a cornfield if they don't know about it?
That's correct.
And then they got to trust everything that you have done up to that point. If they go in there and their coffee tastes like trash, you have more word of mouth working against you than you have working for you.
That is correct. There's a reason why Coca-Cola spends hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars a year on marketing. You think about Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is one of the most iconic American brands, that we have, but it's one of the largest in the beverage industry. McDonald's, they spend hundreds of millions, if not billions a year on marketing. There are children or people in third world countries who have never tasted a McDonald's hamburger, but they know the golden arch when they see it. So, images are powerful, and companies spend billions of dollars for that, to get their brand out there for brand recognition. So that is extremely important. Like you said, if you build it, they will come. That is a 100% fantasy. When we first launched our coffee, when we told everybody, okay, we're ready, we sell online with Memphis Grindhouse Coffee, crickets. You know what I mean? Nobody had never heard of Memphis Grindhouse Coffee. And so how we were able to successfully start gaining traction. Now, granted, when we launched in 2019, December 2019, 2020 was right around the corner. March 2020, COVID was right around the corner. Although COVID was a bad thing, it worked in our favor because everyone was at home looking for things online. But once the regulations, the restrictions and stuff for in person let up, man, we had to physically go to places and do sampling, and we had to give away product for free just to get our name out there. That cost time and money to do that. And then people started to learn about the brand. That's how that works.
Well, let me ask you this question right here. How do you know when you're building a business versus creating yourself a second job with a logo?
That is a good question. Ultimately, the business needs to be able to operate without you in it. So if you as the owner can walk away from the business for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and the business can still operate and run, you may have created a business. If the business cannot run without you, you have just created yourself, like you said, a logo, a job with a logo on it. I mean, that's it. And then in order to have that, you have to have systems in place. You need people and systems in place to make the business run when you are not there, because you're only one person. You can't do everything.
Well, speaking of that, people don't know that you do IT. So when you got you're in the coffee lane, you're in the tech lane, which one taught you the hardest lesson about business?
Would have to be coffee. And the reason why is because tech requires you to understand how things work on an intricate level, right? For instance, one of the largest data companies on planet Earth is Meta, which is Facebook, right? So Facebook has over 4 billion users daily on their platforms. So Facebook owns Facebook, which is Meta. They own Instagram, and they own an app called WhatsApp. And these platforms globally have billions of users, right? But once you build the infrastructure of a tech company, the infrastructure can run on servers and run on systems without humans actually touching it. Now, of course, you have to go and make updates and things like that, on the back end infrastructure. But you can build it once, and once it's built correctly, it runs. With me building my coffee business, I learned so much in a short period of time. You have to learn supply chain. You have to learn cost of goods. You have to learn what a loss leader is. You learn P&L, which is profit and loss statements. You learn business credit. You learn vendor relationships, packaging, because coffee is considered a consumer packaged good. It's CPG for short. You learn, because now we sell in grocery stores. So now you learn the format of getting into a grocery store, doing business, becoming a vendor relationships, product supply and demand, shipping schedules. You learn all of that by running, and you only know it when you run a business. You learn what sells, what don't sell. You learn what works, what don't work. Even though we sell 3 different kinds of coffee, I can tell you from all the locations we in, I know what sells at each location. I know how much sells at that location and what won't sell at that location. It's a science to it. It's a reason why when you walk in a grocery store, when you go to the right, the first thing you see, if you walk in Kroger, the first thing you see is produce over to the right. You see the fruit, the veggies right in front of you. And you go to the right, you see produce and stuff like that. And you go around, you might see the bread. It's a reason why the grocery store is designed like that. They know their customer. So yes, running a business has taught me so many different things. And it's been it's been challenging, but it's been unique. It's been fun.
Which one of those avenues taught you faster that talent is just not enough?
Would have to be a coffee, the business, because on the tech side, you can fake it for a while. I know people in the tech industry who make 6 figures. They are not real techies. And what I mean by that is they are not actual deep thought, deep learning IT people. They just have they just know one thing, or they have a certain title, and then they can command 6 figures. But they could not take a computer apart and put it back together. I guarantee you they couldn't do it. But they make 6 figures. That's because they have a title. But running a business, you have to learn everything from the ground up. You have to learn how to create the product, how to market the product, how to sell the product, how to source the product, all of that. And with us dealing with food, you learn FDA regulations, you learn code enforcement, what you can and can't do. You learn who can sell stuff, who can't sell stuff. It's a lot of, you learn all that but you only learn it being active in the business. You don't really learn it all in a textbook, right? You may read about it, but until you actually are boots on the ground and you become a practitioner of your business, you won't learn that stuff.
Well, I guess I already know the answer to this, but which one exposed more blind spot?
The coffee business. Because in all honesty, you don't know what you don't know until you hit it, right? For instance, when you go out, like when we created our coffee business, our first iteration of our bags was all orange. Well, now keep in mind, and I have to show you a picture of them, but they were like orange, almost like Tennessee Vol orange, that type of orange, right? They were orange with white letters. And we had three, of course, we had light, medium, and dark. Well, and then they were gloss. They were high gloss bags. We quickly learned when you take those bags in a grocery store, they don't photograph well. The gloss, because of the bright lights in the grocery store, the lights reflect off the gloss. So then it makes the text on the bag unreadable. So if you pay attention to like a lot of your packaging in grocery stores, like on the potato chip aisle, or the coffee aisle, or whatever, a lot of your packaging is in matte. It's not high gloss. And it's specifically done so the product can be read in a grocery store because of all the bright lights. But again, that's something that we did not know until until we tried it, right? You just didn't think about that. There's a color psychology to products. Again, that's something I did not know, and I did not learn color psychology until I got into the business of coffee. It's a reason why a stop sign is red, a yield sign is yellow. Those are color psychology. Your mind relates when you see that red sign, even if it's French on that sign and you can't read it. In your mind is telling you that means stop because it's red, right? It's just the color psychology. So with us being from Memphis, Memphis is predominantly like we love our sports here. So Memphis color is blue. Memphis Grizzlies, Memphis Tigers. And so with us having orange bags, it did not resonate within the Memphis community. Although the coffee was good and it tasted great, the color of the bags did not resonate. As soon as we changed the color of the bags to 3 different colors, our sales took off because customers were able, for 2 reasons. Number one, they were able to differentiate between the light, medium, and dark because there's 3 different colors. And number two, the colors resonate with the city. So again, we did not know that until we got in business and we learned it along the way. So that's one of them. Again, those are blind spots that we learned along the way.
Believe it or not, when I taught branding at the Memphis Library Foundation, they have a continuing education program, it's free. I told them about color psychology. And a lot of people, when they hear about branding, they think about a logo. I said, no, branding has a lot of more steps to it. It was a 4-part series, but I'm not sure if I teach that again. It depends on the library foundation, but I think that people really need to attend that class if they really want to know about business and getting started. But let me ask you this one question. It's about tech. What did tech teach you about business that people in love with the grind usually learn the hard way?
You know what? Keep it simple, right? So with technology, of course, we have these wonderful things in our hand called cell phones, right? I mean, literally, your modern day cell phone is technically a baby. It's a baby supercomputer. It has a phone. I mean, it's a phone. It's a camera. It has a lot of processing power. It has memory, whole 9 yards, right? When dealing with technology, the average person looks up they Google everything when they search if they want to know something. So, if they want to know about, like, for instance, if you were in the market for a new car, you would Google whatever car you want to purchase. You would look and see the specs of it. And, you go out to the manufacturer's website, you may see what dealerships in your area may be offering, rebates or discounts or whatever. You would do all that through your phone. So in technology, I tell people, keep it simple, stupid, which is the KISS acronym, right? Which means when you're building a website, keep it simple. When people come to your website, do not make it hard for them to give you money. So what I mean by that is let your products be easily displayed, let the colors and stuff. Your website needs to look good to the human eye. That goes back to your comment about color psychology. And it needs to just resonate with whatever it is that you're trying to sell and make it easy for them to buy your product in 3 clicks. 1, 2, 3. Click on it, product description, add to cart, or buy now. Make it simple. Don't make them go through 15 steps to try to give you money. And I mean, that's a golden tip for technology. Don't overbuild your website. Make it tasteful. Get a nice platform where it looks good. Use a template to where it looks good. It needs to be HTML compatible, which means that your website will play well with any device that a person uses, whether they use a desktop computer or an iPad or cell phone or whatever. Your website will resize itself. If you're using HTML5, it looks clean no matter which device format that they use. Those are important things to know. And in today's world with technology, that is a very inexpensive thing to do, to build out a nice website. So that's a golden tip right there.
Well, I do business consulting and I'm a business strategist, but I tell people all the time, if you can make it in Memphis, you can make it anywhere, because Memphis is a hard market to make it in. But what did Memphis teach you about hustle that corporate America could never teach you?
Man, just about grit. Like I say, when we started selling coffee, we did not start selling coffee in stores until about year 4, because we sold online for the first 3 years. And once we got into stores, that was a different ball game. And, because immediately going into the store, you're like, okay, we excited because now we got our product in the store, which is a whole different set of challenges by itself. And we could talk about that if you like. But once we got into the store and got on the shelf, we thought, oh yeah, it's going to sell. No, it did not sell. Not the way we wanted it to. So once you get in the store, you have to learn, you have to go and sample your product. Grocers love when you come sample your product. And so we spent many Saturdays and Sundays out on the weekends at Cordelia's Market, at Super Low Spotswood, Super Low Quint, Cash Saver, different locations around the city, sampling coffee, giving away coffee, because that's a way for the customer to try your product. First of all, I've had people look at our bags and say, "You created this? Y'all own this?" Yes, they don't believe that it is a local brand just by how polished the brand looks. So that's hurdle number 1. Number 2, you have to let them know when you're out there sampling it, and you say, "Hey, this is our product. Try it." And then that lets the customer connect with your product. From my research, what I understand, a person has to see your product 7 times before it resonates in their mind, or before they actually choose to purchase it. So then they see us online, they see us on the internet. We've had a couple TV commercials. Then they see us standing out in front of the store giving away coffee. When a customer can taste your product, it is a high percentage that they will actually go and put it in the bag, and they'll make an impulse purchase. Every time we sample product at a store, sales always spike that day. They always spike, because customers say, "Oh, I tasted it. Let me put it in the basket. Let me try it." And then they try it and they like it. And so now I just gained a new customer. But to your question, the point of the question story that I'm making is, it's the grit. You have to be boots on the ground with your customer, shaking hands, kissing babies, telling your story, letting customers try your product. You got to give your product away. I know people they don't think that you have to give it away. You have to have a budget. And I understand when you're starting out, you're small, you may not have a lot of capital to do that. It's a reason why when you go in Costco and Sam's Club, when they have people standing out, handing out food samples, they want you to try their product. It's a reason why companies do that. They want the customer to sample it, because if you sample it, you'll buy it. Same concept. And so I learned that having that grit of going out hustling in the city, sampling product, it made me a better salesperson, and it helped us increase our sales around the city and build brand awareness.
Well, I tell people, entrepreneurs all the time, I know in our prior episodes, that feedback is one of the most precious things that you can have, because your customers will tell you when you right on and they tell you when you're off. And the thing about it is, if you listen to the feedback, and if it's good feedback and it's consistent feedback, you understand you need to pivot. And you need to do right away to make it work. A lot of entrepreneurs, they be in their pride. They don't want to change. They don't want to pivot, and they'll ride a concept to the grave, because they just don't want to do it.
Yes, that's correct.
Now, what are people sleeping on in Memphis right now when it comes to business and innovation?
Well, man, Elon Musk, he dropped his new supercomputer here in the city. With the down on I forgot what it was on President's Island. That a lot of people dislike Elon Musk for different reasons. They have their different feelings about him. But as I've told people, that supercomputer that Elon Musk is bringing to the city is a game changer for multiple reasons. Reason number one, it is for what it's going to do, right? It's not that it's going to create hundreds of jobs. That's not what it's going to do. What it's going to do is slowly turn Memphis into a tech hub because other technology companies have already started to develop in this area. I don't know if you've noticed, man, right across the bridge in West Memphis, Google has announced they're building, I think, like a $10 billion data center just right over in West Memphis. Google already has an operations center in South Haven, Mississippi, which is right across the state line, right? And so with that supercomputer being here, it will give us the computational compute power to be able to test large model sets of data. We can run AI projects and other big companies here in the city like FedEx, AutoZone, International Paper, and other companies. They can leverage the compute power that we have here because of that. It is a 100% game changer, and it's going to force the city to bring fiber internet to that area where his supercomputer will be. So by them bringing fiber to that area, fiber internet, that means that the infrastructure will be put in the ground. So that means other surrounding communities in that area will benefit from being able to have access to fiber internet. It's a beautiful thing, in my opinion.
Well, a lot of people can't appreciate that our area is benefiting from nuclear power through TVA. And that means that we have a lot of extra power that, other people may not have in our community. And I think a lot of times when people, they get so political that they would turn away jobs and turn away opportunities because someone told them without even doing the research of how it's going to benefit me and how it's going to benefit my community, how it's going to benefit my schools, how is it going to benefit the economy. They just hear someone saying that they should protest it, they should hate it, they should hate him, they should hate Trump, they should hate all this stuff. It's just like when the Memphis task force came in and they reduced crime. I'm like, who wants to be in the city where you can't walk down the street?
Right. I agree.
And who are you protecting?
Right. I agree. A lot of people did not agree with the National Guard coming to Memphis. And I mean, people have their different feelings about it. But, according to local police stats, now they could be fabricating, but they said local crime has gone down since the presence of the National Guard being here. So ultimately, in my opinion, that's another good thing. I've seen local citizens here on the news say since the National Guard has been here, crime in their neighborhoods have gone down. They feel safe. They feel safe to walk to the local store in their neighborhood, or they can take their children out on a bicycle ride in the community and let their kids ride their bikes. In my opinion, that's boots on the ground, people in the community. That's a direct effect of National Guard being here. So,
Yeah, because when Donald Trump talks about people large corporate entities want to come to Memphis to do business, and the governor Lee tells you that people want to come to Memphis and do business, but the crime was stopping them. I'm saying, like, if you want to work, we need to work. We need to develop our city and our economy. But I think I tell all my clients, when you in business, politics matter more than the average person realizes, because these people can put you in business and these people can put you out of business with a stroke of a pen.
100%. That is 100% true.
And then some people can support your business, or they can make sure your business is put on in timeout. It's all political, but you got to watch how you vote. I'm not telling people who to vote for, but I'm telling people you need to listen to what they actually saying and then watch what they actually do to make sure it's going to be in line with what you're trying to do with your business.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. It doesn't really, I'm not super political. I understand politics very well. And I tell people not to get too hung up on who the face of the United States president is, right?
Right.
People don't like Trump for different reasons, and they have their right to like him or dislike him. But what I've told people was what really matters is your local and your state elections, right? Who your city council is, your governor, your state governor, your local senate, your mayor. Those are the people that you should be concerned about. Your school board, your police chief. Those are the people that you should vote for and that you should really, really care about because they affect change within your local community.
Don't forget the judges. Please don't forget the judges.
Yeah, absolutely. Judges as well. But, so that's who we should focus our efforts on versus, people get hung up on who the president is, but the president don't really affect things at the local level. Like you said, these politicians can put you out of business, like you said, with a stroke of a pen. All they have to do is change one policy or change one law, and it could either put you out of business or make costs of doing business in your area extremely expensive. I mean, look at Airbnb. Airbnb before the regulations, it was wide open. Now it's so regulated within certain areas, many people lost their Airbnbs. They had to shut them down.
Well, let me ask you this question right here. What breaks first in most businesses? The product, the people, or the process?
I think you know what. So Marcus Lemonis, I don't know if you know who that is, but he has a TV show called The Profit, and he's a business guy. He always talks about product, people, placement. I would have to say maybe people first, right? I think people are important just because, especially if they work for you. Now, like I say, Rick and I, we are a two-man operation right now, but the people that we work with, the vendors, all of our partners, people that work with us, that's extremely important. They make the decisions first. And then once you get past the people, they give you the green light. Then the product is extremely important at that point.
I have to agree with the people also. I think that there is a universal management problem in most companies because you have people in supervisory and management positions that do not know how to manage people. People, if you went to Chick-fil-A and they did not give you a consistent product, I wouldn't blame the product. I would blame the people. But first,
Right.
before I blame the people, I would blame the management. It's like, because if they made people do their jobs and they have a consistent product and they can make sure the processes work. But I think that management is really something that people really need to look at when things start breaking down first before they start looking at the people, because somebody somewhere let somebody do something they weren't supposed to do. And it's usually in management supervision. But what's the one invisible system every small business should have before they try to scale?
You know what? So you need good accounting because accounting tells you what's coming in, what's going out. Well, that helps you see your numbers really well, right? So, of course, I'm not endorsed by anybody, but we use QuickBooks, but QuickBooks gives us a great picture of an overall picture of our business, cash flow. We can look at cost of goods. We can look at accounts payable, accounts receivable. If you try to scale your business or sell your business to anybody, they're going to ask you for your P&L, which is your profit and loss statement. They want to see how money comes in, how money flows out. So I think that's a critical thing. Your accounting system is critical. Accounting, inventory, they almost kind of go hand in hand a little bit, but those are extremely important before you can even consider scaling.
Yeah, I go back to our prior episode. We talked about before you go to the bank, you have to have books. I know one thing as a business strategist and a business consultant, it's hard to get people to pay for consistent books because they think bookkeeping is not necessary, but somebody can be stealing from them. Somebody could be, you could be spending out more money on payroll than you actually need. Your costs could
Yeah.
be out of line. You should be making strategic changes. You need to know when to have more inventory and when to have less inventory. But if you have records, they'll show you year by year what happens during different seasons. And so you can be prepared. You might have to beef up your financing because you have to buy more inventory. At Christmas, it may be sales are phenomenal, but you have to have the product to sell it.
Absolutely.
Then after Christmas, it may be sales might be slow. So you shouldn't be stacking up a lot of inventory on the shelves because inventory is money. A lot of people don't even realize that.
Absolutely.
But this is the closing question I want to ask you. If someone walks away from your story today, what do you want them to understand about the difference between performing entrepreneurship and really living it?
Great question. Great question. I really want people to understand, like you mentioned earlier, just because your auntie or your cousin or your mama or somebody told you that you fry good chicken, that you should go and, you should go open a restaurant. No, do not do that. Please don't do that.
Please don't do that.
Please don't do that. Like me personally, as much as I love business, I have zero interest in running a restaurant because there are so many different moving parts of a restaurant. Number one, a restaurant is low profit margin. Even well-oiled restaurants, like some of your high-end chains, like
Please
Capital
repeat
Grill.
that because a lot of people don't understand that. And a lot of people lose money because a restaurant could be a money pit.
Absolutely, absolutely. Even your well-oiled, people who've been doing restaurants for decades that understand the business, uh, Ruth's Chris, Capital Grill, big chains like that, they still only operate at about maybe a 20 to 30, 20 to 30%, 25% profit margin. It's not, and they getting $70 for a steak. You know what I mean? It's not that they're making tons of money. It's yes, they are restaurateurs, but they understand it's a formula that you have to have when operating a restaurant. And so the same thing goes with a business. You have to have a certain formula. Just because you can cook don't mean you should go open a restaurant. And so with a business, just because you can do one thing well don't mean you should go start a business. You have to have an understanding for business. You have to understand your numbers. You have to understand supply chain. You have to understand sourcing the goods, product cost. There are fundamental things that you need to understand if you're going to operate a business. Now, you may be one of those good creative people that you're really good at creating, but you're not really the business person. If that's you and you want to get into business, I would highly recommend you hire experts. You need a good accountant, you need a good lawyer, a good CPA. You need those people. They need to be your best friends because you have to understand your numbers of what you're doing. You need legal protection. So you need, do you need to be an LLC? Do you need to be an S Corp, C Corp, corporation? All of that is extremely important. The fundamentals of a business are extremely important. So I tell people, don't go into business because you think it's glamorous. It's not glamorous. It requires a lot of work, a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work. You don't open a business and start making millions of dollars day one. It just doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. We're on a growth trajectory in our business, but we're in year 7. But man, it took a long time. It took 7 years just to get to this point. You see what I'm saying? So, don't just jump out there in business and think you're going to be an overnight success. It doesn't work like that. It requires you years of time and practice and patience of working at your business before you become successful at it.
Okay, in closing remarks, let us know something you want to say about your tech business. Let us know something about your coffee business before we close up that. Tell people how to get a hold of you, how to support your business, especially the IT business, because I know you haven't said how to contact you about IT if you are outsourcing that too.
Absolutely. Well, like I say, from an IT perspective, I've been doing IT for over 20 years. I am a computer engineer by trade. So I went to school for computer engineering. I understand software, computers, hardware very, very well. I understand technology very, very well. If anybody wants to, reach out to me and ask me anything regarding technology, they can look me up. If you look me up on Facebook or Instagram, you can find me by my name, Dwayne Chaffen, Dwayne, Chaffen, Chaffen. You DM me, I'll be happy to answer whatever question you have. From a perspective of my coffee business, you can reach out to us on our website, memphisgrindhouse.com. Our email address is info@memphisgrindhouse.com. You can follow us we're on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram at Memphis Grindhouse Coffee. Reach out to us. We happily respond to all of our messages, all of our emails, DMs, or whatever. TikTok has been a popular platform for us. We love engaging with our customers, with people all the time. So we're highly accessible. Rick and I, we respond to every email. We talk to everybody. We call people, back if people call us and leave us a voicemail or whatever. Like I said, we are a 2-man operation, but we respond to every text, every call, every email. We talk to everybody. So, like I say, just engage with us. We're going to be doing another coffee tasting here soon, more than likely locally at one of the grocery stores here. So, and like I said, we're engaging with Thistle and Bee with their new product, with the honey in the roast coffee, which has just been a number. It's been phenomenal out the gate. people are really, really resonating with that. So if people would engage with us, reach out, follow us on social media, we definitely would, we'd let everybody know how we're doing, what the next event is, what's going on. We try to keep people informed on what's going on in our world.
Well, again, this is Ephraim Simmons with Mic'd Up Money. Really enjoyed the conversation about the respecting the grind and the hustle. We need to remind you that branding is more than hustle. You got to not only put motion to it, but you have to put strategy with it. And it's more than having a look. You got to have that structure. It's not about always having a dream, because you still have to have the discipline to execute to make that dream happen. And then the products and systems, you have to have those because, when things get tough, how you built a business would be more important than you having a business, because things will break, but good systems will help you to scale and grow, and they can be fixed. Again, what we're going to do is my nonprofit, if you put a receipt after this episode's airs, if you put your receipt in the comment section, you may qualify for up to a $50 gift card from my nonprofit to support what's going on at Memphis Grindhouse Coffee. But make sure you put in the comment section, and if I DM you back and want to get some contact information to send you your gift card, it's not a scam. It's me, Ephraim Simmons, trying to give you a prize. But that being it, this is Ephraim Simmons from Mic'd Up Money. This is the business strategist, and we're glad that you are here. Please share this broadcast with other people, and please learn, because we have some talented guests and they're really doing great things. But I'm checking out. Thank you for listening today. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
That's a wrap for this week on Mic'd Up Money. Don't forget to grab your free tools at micdupmoney.com. Follow us at Mic'd Up Money on all social platforms, and keep taking your next right money move. Until next time, stay reset, stay ready, and stay mic'd up.
I'm making money mic'd up, that's on my soul, baby. I got business in order, I'm going so crazy. Applying pressure, consistent, the dice roll, baby. You know how